What if you were locked away for a crime you didn't commit? The three stories I'm about to tell you about should shake your faith in justice. Imagine justice as a house of cards that's been meticulously built but teetering on the edge of collapse. One wrong move, one misplaced piece, and innocent lives are crushed. If you've followed our deep dives into the Lucy Letby case, you know that questions are starting to mount. We're going to dig deeper into Lucy's story and how Andrew Malkinson spent 17 years in prison for a crime he did not commit. And then there's the case of Jason Moore, a man entangled in a web of circumstantial evidence that is so tenuous that it cannot withstand the smallest amount of scrutiny. Is any of this fair? No. These three people are casualties of a crumbling illusion, shackled to a system destined to collapse if action is not taken soon. This could happen to you, or it could happen to me. So hit that subscribe button and let's get started. Justice is meant to be a beacon of safety, a lighthouse guiding us to the truth. But when bias, flawed evidence, misconduct, and institutional pressures distort the light, the innocent are trapped. In the UK and beyond, cases like Lucy Letby, Andrew Malkinson, and Jason Moore have exposed a failing system meant to protect the innocent. How do we know the truth when the system itself is failing? The UK Criminal Cases Review Commission is supposed to fix these cracks, but it's underfunded and sluggish. It's like a ship stuck in its own fog. Let's get to know these three people who were caught in this virtual storm of injustice. The Lucy Letby case is deeply sensitive, and my intention is to respect all perspectives while seeking the truth. In 2023, Lucy Letby, a neonatal nurse who was convicted of murdering 7 babies and attempting to murder 6 others at the Countess of Chester Hospital, was branded by the media as a monster, or was she a scapegoat for a failing system? The prosecution leaned heavily on a 1989 paper by Dr. Shu Lee, claiming Lucy Letby injected air into babies' bloodstreams, causing an ear embolism. They pointed to skin discoloration as proof, but that claim was later shown to be inaccurate. In 2025, Dr. Lee and 14 world-class experts reviewed the case and found no evidence of murder. Instead, they pointed to natural causes or substandard care at the Countess of Chester Hospital. The panel, including Nina Modi, former president of the Royal College of Paediatrics and Child Health, found systemic failures in care, misdiagnosis, delayed treatment, and a lack of staff. This is the dilemma confronting the nation. The expert panel highlighted serious concerns, yet the jury weighed months of testimony before delivering its verdicts, and the victim's family remains steadfast in their belief in Letby's guilt. What's become increasingly clear is that Dr. Jury Evans' evidence was built on a weak foundation, and his credibility is now in serious doubt. Moreover, statisticians argue that the data linking the deaths to Letby was inconclusive. Further, Letby's notes saying "I'm evil" were written in distress during counselling sessions and not as a confession. Imagine your very personal despair was used against you in a court of law. MP David Davies calls it a potential miscarriage of justice, while her lawyer Mark MacDonald cites new evidence that presents a significant challenge to the very verdicts themselves. Yet the babies' families believe justice was served. The Lucy Letby case specifically raises questions about the quality of expert testimony raised at trial. What would you do if you're in Lucy's shoes? Tell me in the comments section below. Let's now turn to Jason Moore, who was caught in a web of weak circumstantial evidence. In 2013, Moore was convicted of murdering Robert Darby outside a pub in Grants Hill, Essex, 8 years after the crime. The conviction rested on a single drunk eyewitness who initially failed to identify him. There was no DNA, no fingerprints, and no hard forensic evidence tying Jason Moore to the crime scene. The ID line-up 7 years later, after the murder, obscured Moore's distinctive height, and the same eyewitness later admitted to seeing the incident only in the blink of an eye. Hardly a reliable witness statement. Moore has maintained his innocence, and his family, along with Darby's brother, have campaigned for his release, arguing a clear miscarriage of justice. This is Jason Moore's reality. It's a textbook case of circumstantial evidence and confirmation bias. Groups like Unite Against Injustice have argued for Moore's full exoneration, asserting that the conviction rested solely on flimsy circumstantial evidence. Like Letby, Moore is trapped in a system where escape must feel impossible. How many others are trapped like this? Let me know in the comments section below, and if you would like me to cover their case. We simply can't stand by and allow people to be sacrificed for the sake of a misguided narrative, especially when the truth is clear and undeniable. Next up is the Andrew Malkinson case, and this case, like Lucy Letby and Jason Moore, is a real gut punch to justice. Convicted in 2004 of rape in Salford, the eyewitness described someone very unlike Malkinson. Despite this glaring mismatch in the attacker's description, no DNA or forensic evidence ever directly linking Andrew Malkinson to the crime, he was still convicted. In 2007, DNA evidence identified a different suspect, but the CPS dismissed it. Despite being alerted to the DNA findings in 2013, the CCRC failed to act. Only in 2023, with help from the charity appeal, was he freed. The injustice of it all. 17 long years stolen from this man, Andrew Malkinson, who sat in a prison cell while his life slipped through his fingers, while the real predator walked free. If this is how the justice system handles its own failures, what chance do Lucy Letby and Jason Moore have of finding true justice? The Andrew Malkinson case isn't just a miscarriage of justice, it's a glaring warning that the system is failing us, with the truth not just staring us in the face, but it demands an urgent response from the CCRC and others. What clearer role could the media have other than to expose these failures, hold institutions accountable, and ensure that justice is not just a distant ideal, but a tangible reality for us all? The media holds substantial power. They can choose to illuminate the truth or bury it. Letby was branded Britain's worst baby killer before her trial. Jason Moore was assumed guilty on shaky eyewitness claims, and Andrew Malkinson was labelled a violent rapist for 17 years. Yet where was the media's scrutiny? Who dared to challenge the narrative and demand the truth? When Letby was called a monster, the media simply amplified the prosecution's claims. Peter Hitchings, a rare voice in UK journalism who challenged the weak evidence behind Letby's conviction, urged the public to reconsider the official narrative. And Hitchings' sentiments are further echoed by US investigators like Radley Balco and Tucker Carrington in their book, The Cadaver King. They showed how media hype helped to fuel wrongful convictions rather than uncovering the truth. What do you think? Is the media doing the job it's meant to do? Jason Moore's conviction leaned heavily on a drunken eyewitness, yet the UK media painted him guilty straight away. Few media outlets have even dared to challenge the integrity of the fragile eyewitness testimony. And then there's Andrew Malkinson, vilified as a violent rapist, his name tarnished long before the truth had a chance to be heard. When Andrew walked free, some media outlets shifted tone, while others just simply moved on, leaving the system's failures in the dark. Balco has consistently emphasised that when the media neglects to investigate wrongful convictions, the public remain uninformed about systemic failures. Similarly, UK journalist Peter Hitchings has been vocal about the dangers of media rushing to judgment, urging deeper scrutiny to reveal the truth behind contested cases like the Letby and Moore case. How many stories have been swallowed by an obedient media, sacrificing integrity for mere profit? The lives of wrongly accused are far too precious to be treated so cheaply. Your voice matters in this. Let me know what you think. Lucy Letby, Jason Moore and Andrew Malkinson are not alone. Remember Sally Clark and the Post Office Horizon scandal? They all represented an over-reliance on flawed expert testimony and circumstantial evidence, which turned justice into a juggernaut that crushed their lives. The justice system, like any human-built machine, is prone to error. An excessive reliance on circumstantial evidence, compromised expert testimony, or sensationalised media coverage can turn into an oppressive juggernaut, wrongly condemning the innocent. Wrongful convictions are like shadows cast by a faulty light, hard to see clearly until you adjust the source. And that's the role of the media. Lucy Letby, Jason Moore and Andrew Malkinson represent lives caught in a system's blind spot. Their stories compel us to challenge the system, not just for them, but for all those who could be the next victims. If you want me to explore other possible miscarriages of justice, let me know in the comments section below. And if you believe the system needs more scrutiny and less secrecy, hit the like, subscribe and share button. Let's build a community that holds the justice system accountable. For now, take care.